Whether it's the Shack or the Pack, the Moon, the Suns, or the Stars, get into the real things, the authentic stuff. Get into Sports Illustrated Insider Authentics, the catalog that gets you into the game for real. Insider Authentics takes you into the locker room to suit up like the pros. Whatever your team, college or pro, you'll get issued what they get issued. It's exactly what the players and coaches wear. With NFL Pro Line, Major League Baseball's Diamond Collection, NBA Authentics, and the NHL Center Collection. Insider Authentics gives you all the big names in the big games. Apex, Champion, Starter, Russell, and others. They feature the same fabrics, cuts, and logos used by the professional and college teams. Sweatshirts, t-shirts, shorts, and jerseys that can take a pounding and still look like a hero. It's quality that's unbeatable. It's Sports Illustrated Insider Authentics. Call this toll-free number now to get into it with a free catalog. It's where you find all the stuff that's hard to find. It's where you can get into it all without going out. And you get it all on time with express delivery that won't keep you waiting. Plus, you can order the sports videos that capture the excitement of the event, the teams, the stars. You'll also get inside the world of sports celebrities through signed helmets, balls, and covers. These items are limited, so call now for a free catalog. Ask how you can join the Insiders Club and save 10% on all purchases. Plus, you'll receive 2 free videos. Watch for Insiders Authentics ads in Sports Illustrated. Get inside with royalty, the mighty, the biggest, and the best. It's great stuff. Call for a free catalog and get inside with Sports Illustrated Insider Authentics.
Hi, I'm Peter King of Sports Illustrated. Along with my colleague Michael Silver, it's my pleasure to introduce the 1995 Cincinnati Bengals Video Yearbook.
In this Sports Illustrated special presentation, we're going to give you an exclusive look at Cincinnati Bengals football, past, present, and future.
And we're going to start with a review of the 1994 Bengals season, a highlight package we call Flying Tigers. And Michael, it's not often in a Bengals season that you can really look forward to it with great anticipation, but this year might be different. 2 things happened this offseason. Number 1, the Arizona Cardinals made a big play offering Carl Pickens, the star wide receiver of the Bengals, a big contract. Bengals matched it, so Pickens stays. Secondly, on draft day, they trade up to the number 1 pick in the draft and take potential franchise back in Kajana Carter. How do you like the Carter pick?
I think it's a great, great move. Bold move by the Bengals. Kajana Carter, scouts tell me he's better than Marshall Faulk, who last year was a pretty good-looking rookie. I think Carter is ultimately going to be a guy that the Bengals are real proud of.
I think offensively also with the Bengals, really Jeff Blake gave them great reason to hope for the future last year and a pretty good trial the last half of the season. Now we have Blake versus David Klingler. I kind of think Blake is going to win that job. Defensively, they're really hoping that Big Daddy Dan Wilkinson, the first pick in last year's draft, can be more of an impact player this year than he was last year. These are just some of the things we're about to see. For in addition to 1994 highlights, we'll also take a special trip down memory lane in our Bengals Classic segment.
That segment will feature the team's first-round draft pick in 1969, the greatest quarterback who never was, Greg Cook.
So without further ado, Sports Illustrated proudly presents the 1995 Cincinnati Bengals Video Yearbook.
Climbing the ladder of success in the NFL can often be a long and tedious journey. The 1994 Cincinnati Bengals were once again all too familiar with the adversity accompanied with bad bounces and tough luck. The team also struggled early on trying to find its chemistry.
I mean, I'm trying to wide now also. That's what I'm saying. I'm on the outside of you.
True, but when you came up on the outside and whoever's supposed to be coming over in the middle, coming inside. No.
When Lady Luck landed right in their hands, it somehow slipped away.
And he will take it. No, not the football out of bounds. What the heck?
Why, even spiking the ball could be dangerous. But the injuries which decimated the offensive line were no laughing matter. Many times it was open season on quarterback David Klingler. When both Klingler and backup Don Hollis went down in Week 8, the Bengals didn't panic, but instead remained open-minded when it came to looking for a new quarterback.
You know, we've been wanting to have a little bigger quarterback because of, you know, our offensive line problems and stuff, you know. Can you run the option?
Woo!
How about the wishbone?
Yeah, we run that all the
The
time.
biggest wishbone I'd ever see.
Returning to Riverfront Stadium for a Week 9 matchup with the Cowboys, Cincinnati penciled in a seldom-used third stringer named Jeff Blake to run the offense. And that's when it happened. Suddenly, balls that would have been dropped earlier in the season were being caught. The once dormant Cincinnati attack was now very much awake. Spurred on by the quarterback everyone had almost given up on, the Bengals ambushed the Cowboys as Blake parlayed his inaugural effort into an offensive revolution.
On first down, Pickens split far side. Scott nearest to us, and Blake has the ball back to throw. Going deep, down the middle of the field. He wants Scott. He's got him.
Yes!
Scott is going to go all the way for the touchdown. Donnie Scott.
Inspired by the offensive fireworks, Cincinnati's defense stuffed Dallas's vaunted running game. As if to prove that the first time wasn't a fluke, Blake stunned the Cowboys yet again.
Steps through pressure and throws deep. Down the middle of the field. Wide open is Scott. He's got it, and he's in for the end zone, and the touchdown.
Unbelievable!
Again, Blake and Scott hook up.
While the scoreboard may have indicated otherwise, the real story of this game was the player who had injected life back into Cincinnati. And now, with the arrival of Kajana Carter, the Bengals hope to expound upon what they accomplished in 1994, the year of the Flying Tigers. In 1994, the NFL commemorated its 75th season, and teams celebrated in Week 3 by donning throwback uniforms. Facing the Patriots in their 1968 regalia, the Bengals certainly looked good early on.
It's under center. It's a blitz and a big one. The hand underneath Steve Broussard. Broussard down the far sideline. 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Cincinnati. What a call. Broussard's open in the flat, but he doesn't see him. He throws into the end zone. Touchdown. Yes, sir. Carl Pickens. Under center takes it. Back to throw. Into the end zone. Caught. Carl Pickens. Touchdown, Cincinnati. It's Pickens' second of the afternoon.
Despite their late push, it wasn't enough for the Bengals, who then ventured into the Astrodome, only to be pummeled by the Oilers. More freakish plays left the team in a state of shock. The only excitement on this day was provided by rookie Corey Sawyer, whose eventual number 3 AFC ranking in punt return yardage was bolstered on this play.
Sawyer at the 19, starts up, cuts back to the near side. He's got a lane. 25-30, 35-40, 45-50, 40, 35, 25-20. He will go all the way for the score. Woo! Touchdown, Cincinnati, and Corey Sawyer.
Week 5 featured the first father-son coaching matchup in league history, as Don Shula brought his Miami Dolphins into Riverfront Stadium to face son David's Bengals. The impending battle certainly left no shortage of emotion.
Hey, let's go! Let's go! Don't even step your ass on the field unless you're willing to sell out! Let's go! Sit up here! Right on! Let's go! Let's get it going! Let's go! Let's go! Win on three! 1, 2, 3, win!
Darryl Malone out, Troy Vincent in, and back to throw Klingler. Looking deep, throwing deep, down the far side of the field. Scott is open. He's got it. Touchdown, Cincinnati. Woo!
Come on. Come on, Dave. Go down.
Riding on their own adrenaline high, the Bengals defense swarmed all over the Dolphins.
Focusing on man. They played number 11 on second down. They're looking right at you. The touchdown, lined up, cocked in, looking in at the quarterback zone.
Even with David Shula's coaxing, Cincinnati was unable to sustain its attack, reverting to ways best left unseen by young eyes.
Come on, cover it, cover it.
Marino from the shotgun looks, fires in the flat, caught by Byers, goes to the goal line, and goes in. Touchdown, Miami.
Daddy should have known that.
While round one of this family feud belonged to Don's Dolphins, the younger Shula will have a shot at redemption next season.
All right. Good luck the rest of the year. Thank you.
25-yard attempt. Johnson will hold. The ball is snapped, placed down at Boone. It's a fake. The hand comes inside, spinning to the goal line and scoring is the rookie Cothran.
Week 7's lone highlight was this fake field goal against the Steelers. And while the Bengals might have headed into Cleveland without a win, they weren't without spirit either.
Let's go, Big Dad. Come on, baby. Don't be afraid of success. Don't be afraid of success, baby. EB, you'll probably be kicking the ball to you. Gotcha. Now you got to pick them up, block them, stay on them. Block them. Give us a seam. Give us a seam. Block them. We got West middle on the ball now. Let's go. Let's start it out. Start it right. 3, hit.
Rookie Big Daddy Dan Wilkinson's beautifully executed spin move helped him notch what Cincinnati fans hope will be the first of many sacks. While on the sidelines, offensive line coach Jim McNally was spelling it out in black and white.
I don't care where they are. They're in a triple. Wherever they keep it down. Listen to me now. You block him, you turn, you block him, come on down here and cut that son of a bitch.
McNally's urging paid off with a touchdown.
Back to throw, looks, throws into the end zone. Oh, a touchdown, Cincinnati.
The rest of the day, however, the Bengals were plagued with the blown opportunities that characterized all that went wrong in the first half of their season. Hot off their eye-opening performance against Dallas, the Bengals took their revamped air show to Seattle in Week 10, sensing that they were finally due.
Let's go now. Let's go. Come on now. Let's go. Come on, baby. Let's go. Big game. Big game. Come on. Come on, Tony. Come on now. Big game. Big game. Let's go. Play hard, baby. Play hard. Come on, baby. Come on. Come on. Get it out. Leave it all here. Leave it all here, baby. Leave it all here. Hit. Hey. Hit on 3. Hit on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hit.
The Bengals might have taken their lumps early on, but this time around, they weren't about to roll over and play dead. Midway through the first quarter, Cincinnati's defense decided to take matters into its own hands.
In his own end zone is tackled by Albert Williams with a safety. Ball pops free.
Despite generating nearly 500 yards of offense, the Bengals had to settle for 5 Doug Pelfrey field goals to tie things up. But in overtime, it was Blake and Darnay Scott who made the big play.
Blake under center, back to throw. It's a blitz, but he's going way downfield. He's looking for his man Scott. He's got it. And Scott at the 15, 20, 10, and knocked out of bounds at the 8-yard line.
Oh, baby.
First and goal, Cincinnati.
75-yard play.
Scott's reception not only gave Pelfrey a chance at a record-setting 6th field goal, It also put the Bengals on the brink of their first victory.
Teams are lined up and set. The ball is snapped, placed down and booted. It's up, it's over, and it's good. And Cincinnati has won its first of 1994.
With an extremely large monkey off their back, the Bengals returned to Cincinnati for a rematch with Houston. The Queen City, meanwhile, had been stricken with a case of Shake and Blake mania. With all eyes focused on number 8, Blake found that the hot hands this day belonged to Carl Pickens.
3rd and 7 now for Blake, who's back to throw. Looking and throwing into the end zone for Pickens. Touchdown, Cincinnati!
Woo, what a throw!
Oiler quarterback Billy Joe Tolliver quickly discovered that the skies above Cincinnati were not so friendly to visitors. That is, when he had a chance to throw the ball. Bengal fans, however, soon realized that the best way to track their offense was to simply look up.
Now he's got time. Now he throws downfield. He wants Pickens, who's caught up, but he makes the catch. He's in the end zone. Touchdown, Cincinnati.
Unbelievable.
I'll tell you something, partner. This is fun again.
It is. Absolutely.
Going for the hat trick, number 80 would not be denied.
Cincinnati, Blake, quick drop, looks, fires for Pickens. 10-yard line, 5, drives to the goal line, he goes in.
Oh my God!
Touchdown, Cincinnati!
Unbelievable!
Carl Pickens is having a career day here in Riverfront Stadium this afternoon.
Amazing effort!
With the score tied late in the 4th, the game plan called for what else? Blake to Pickens. On the fly. One more time. For the second time in 2 weeks, Cincinnati called on Doug Pelfrey to provide the margin of victory.
It'll be about a 40-yard attempt. Teams are lined up and set. The ball is snapped. It's placed down. It's booted. It's high enough. It's deep enough. It's good.
It's over.
And it is all over. Cincinnati has won its second in a row in a wild afternoon that saw the Shake and Blake live. Cincinnati wins it. 34-31 is the final.
Dancing in the stands was only a small part of it, as Blake fever had reached epidemic proportions. With renewed optimism, Bengal football was fun again, thanks largely to a youth movement in Cincinnati that was determined to elevate the Bengals back to their established plateau of winning. At the core of this resurgence was Blake and Pickens, and don't forget rookie Darnay Scott, who, when not catching his fair share of Blake bombs, was throwing his own. This trio emerged as the big play generators of the team.
Steps through pressure, throws into the end zone. Touchdown, Cincinnati!
In Week 13, when the magic was just about to work again, the cruel hand of fate knocked the Bengals back down to earth.
Into the end zone for Scott, and it's incomplete. Scott got pushed. It's intercepted in the end zone for the touchback.
He pushed him. I'll tell you what, he got away with one there. Buchanan, the cagey veteran, the subtle push. They missed one. Missed one big time.
The next 4 weeks were just as unforgiving. Yet with Blake at the helm, the Bengals contributed to what would become their league-leading total of 11 passing plays over 50 yards.
Oh, Pickens turns it upfield, 50, 40, 35, 30, cuts inside 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown Cincinnati. Carl Pickens has just hooked up with Jeff.
A rapport between passer and receiver that hadn't existed for years was created. In the process, Blake accounted for over 2,100 yards in the air and 14 touchdowns, all in just 9 games. Pickens finished the season as one of the hottest receivers, tallying 71 catches on the year for over 1,100 yards and 11 touchdowns.
end zone for Pickens on the jump ball. He's got it for the touchdown.
Even tight end Tony McGee found himself contributing to Cincinnati's penchant for the big play.
Good pass here, flat caught, pulled in by McGee. Midfield line, stays on his feet, down near sideline 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, and bumped out of bounds at the 4-yard line.
With the kind of excitement generated by Scott, Pickens, and Blake, there is reason to smile and give thanks for instilling a renewed sense of hope in Cincinnati.
Let's go. Get after that ass. Come on, let's go play this. Get after it, man. We got 4-3, ready?
In 1994, Cincinnati's defense was spearheaded by Steve Tovar, a linebacker whose relentless style of play was contagious to his teammates. Safety Darrell Williams had a fine season, accounting for 2 interceptions, while personally enhancing his reputation as one of the NFL's hardest hitters. One Bengal who played as large as the shadow he cast was Keith Rucker, who proved to be a solid free agent acquisition. One year after earning AFC Defensive Rookie of the Year honors, John Copeland continues to emerge as one of the league's rising stars. Dan Wilkinson spent his rookie season learning the ropes, improving steadily with every game. Cincinnati will eventually look for Wilkinson to take charge. For while 1994 was Big Daddy's first season in the NFL, it was one of his teammates' last. Tim Crumry rode off into the sunset after 13 distinguished seasons with the Bengals. He never missed a single game in all those years, and for his dedication, the Bengals honored Crumry in the season finale against the Eagles. Inspired by their teammate, Cincinnati's defense gave Philadelphia all it could handle. Perhaps it was a symbolic passing of the torch as the Bengals clamped down on the Eagles, while points were generated by some familiar faces.
Looking into the end zone, throwing over the middle, caught by Pickens, 5-yard line, goes to the goal line and goes in. Touchdown, Cincinnati. He's got the pitch back now, cuts inside, Harold Green goes to the goal
and
line.
And Tony McGee contributed with his first NFL touchdown.
Drops to throw, he's going to be rushed. He's going to throw, it is caught for a touchdown. Oh, McGee!
No buts about it. This game bore the markings of another wild finish. Facing 4th down and 16 late in the game, Blake's extra effort kept the drive alive. The rock-solid Doug Pelfrey was then summoned to preserve the Bengal season.
Johnson checks with Pelfrey, he's ready. Teams lined up and set the ball. A snap placed down and booted. It is through the uprights and good.
With the kickoff merely a formality before overtime, Cincinnati suddenly found itself on the positive end of the year's most bizarre play.
Johnson's kick is down the center of the field. And it'll be fielded by one of the up guys who fumbled the football. The Bengals have it. And we'll see exactly. They do have it. Yes. They have the football at the 35-yard line.
Then, in a fitting end to their roller coaster season, it all came down to one play and 1 second.
Johnson will hold. Teams line up and set the ball. A snap placed down and booted. High enough, deep enough, and oh! Oh! Oh my gosh! Doug Pelfrey has just kicked the Bengals to a win in the most improbable fashion. There is mayhem on the middle of the field. The Bengal linemen have now hoisted Tim Crumry onto their shoulders.
In a season full of blunders and mishaps, all was forgotten, for Tim Crumry went out the way he deserved to, on top and a winner. In 1994, the Bengals left little doubt about their ability to launch a devastating aerial assault, a bombardment of big plays that left the opposition running for cover. Those in Cincinnati certainly foresee more of the same in 1995, especially since they have BSP. That is Blake, Scott, and Pickens. Looking to solidify other areas, however, the Bengals aggressively attacked the free agent market. By acquiring Philadelphia's number 96, Mike Flores, Cincinnati hopes to fill the void left by Tim Crumry, who coincidentally returns to the team as a coach. The Bengals raided the Eagles' nest once more by signing James Joseph, a running back who possesses outstanding pass-catching abilities. By picking up Eric Bieniemy from San Diego, Cincinnati gets a tenacious runner, ideal in third down situations. But there is another running back who'll be wearing Bengal stripes that has the whole town talking.
The first pick in the draft, the Cincinnati Bengals have selected running back from Penn State, Kajana Carter.
You talk about ideal traits in a running back: size, power, cutback ability, breakaway speed. Kajana Carter has it all. Penn State's number 32 ripped through his junior season and the opposition, shredding school records with over 1,600 yards rushing and 25 touchdowns. Consider it a fair warning, because Kajana's ready to take the entire NFL by storm in 1995. With a running back of Carter's ability to complement an established passing game, there should be many more blue skies in store for Dave Shula's Bengals, a team that took some significant steps in returning to a tradition of winning in 1994, a team that now understands that together it can once again fly high.
To describe my painting or the type of work that I do, I guess I'm an impressionist. I bend in that direction, American French Impressionism of the late 1800s, early 1900s. And to compare myself with that type of work, the Claude Monet school of thought in terms of art, painting, creativity. Light playing upon nature or playing upon the subject matter.
It is perhaps fitting that the Impressionist paintings of artist Greg Cook often depict somber shadows mixed with luminous lights surrounded by fields of green. In essence, this landscape reflects Cook's brilliant but tragically short career in another area of artistic expression. In 1969, Greg Cook crafted a truly original work of art. With the Cincinnati Bengals, he became the first rookie ever to lead the league in passing, a performance that could rightfully be labeled a football masterpiece.
Greg Cook was, I believe, the greatest talent to play the position. He was big, active, had a great arm, and had tremendous instincts. He could play today or at any time in the history of the NFL. He had a shoulder injury that affected his passing arm. Greg was a highly sensitive person, and so consequently it affected him, I think, a little bit psychologically. He had this physical injury that basically ended his career. But while he played, he was the best there was.
Big man, fast, tremendous arm, tremendous presence, everything. And he got hurt, and he was carrying us. He would have been our quarterback for 10, 12, 15 years if he wouldn't have been hurt.
Greg Cook was the best man in my wedding, a guy that I think the world of. Greg Cook was destined to become another Otto Graham.
This guy could have been a great player. He would have been one of the legends had his career carried on a normal course.
Cook had already achieved legendary status during his senior year at the University of Cincinnati. He led the nation in total offense and rewrote the NCAA record book during one memorable afternoon against Ohio University.
I set a school record and I set a national passing record that day. It was like, I think, 550 some yards. It was a game that told me that I could pass on anybody anytime I wanted to. And it was like the type of thing where you said, you can walk out on the field, no matter who you walk out against, you can throw the ball.
Cook's performance did not go unnoticed by the local Cincinnati Bengals, who selected him in the first round of the college draft and promptly handed him the job of starting quarterback.
I don't think I was ever around a guy coming out of college that played as well as early in his career as Greg did, because he was big, he was 6'4 plus, he was 220 pounds, he could run like a running back, maybe not quite as fast as a running back, but he had those kind of athletic skills. And he had that little short stroke, that Terry Bradshaw kind of a throw where he just flipped the ball, the big meaty forehand and the big grip on the ball.
He had great anticipation as to who was going to be there and what side to throw it to. He could throw it hard, he could put the touch on it. He had great confidence in you as a receiver. Physically, I don't know that I've ever seen a better specimen at the position of quarterback. When he was in the huddle, we didn't think as a team there was anything that we could not do. And I think that's the way I would best describe Greg Cook. Arrogant beyond belief, unbelievably cocky. But everything was a personal challenge to him. You know, it was me against them. It wasn't us against them. It was me against them, and you're a part of it.
So advanced was Cook's level of performance that even conservative coach Paul Brown tolerated Greg's occasional freelance play calling.
If Greg had remained healthy, Paul would have changed. Paul would have let Greg Cook do what he wanted to because of just the unbelievable, beautiful talent of a kid like Greg Cook. It was just there, and you couldn't keep it under a bushel anymore.
In 1968, the Bengals won only 3 times. With Cook at the controls in '69, Cincinnati won each of its first 3 games. But in a victory over the eventual world champion Chiefs, Greg Cook's fortunes took a disastrous turn. A severe shoulder injury sent Cook to the sidelines for 4 weeks, and the Bengals went winless without him. But upon Greg's return against the powerful Oakland Raiders, Cincinnati's winning ways magically reappeared.
It was a gray day, and it was overcast. And we played, and I think we beat them pretty handily. It was another little block in that legend kind of attitude that people were taking towards me, winning first 3 games and then being injured and then being out for 3 games and losing those 3 games or 4 games or whatever, and then coming back and winning that game. All of a sudden, here we go again. We're off to the races.
Cook concluded his 1969 season by earning American Football League Rookie of the Year honors. But continuous pain in his injured shoulder brought on a winter of discontent.
Well, the season concludes, and I still know that there's something amiss in my shoulder. So they really never got a real pinpointed, definitive diagnosis about what was wrong until I went in to see an orthopedic surgeon here in Cincinnati. And he looked at it and in about 2 minutes determined that it was a rotator cuff injury. And they determined that it was going to have to be operated on.
Cook missed the entire 1970 campaign while undergoing 3 separate operations. But each time Greg attempted a return, the physical pain was simply too much to overcome.
I tried my annual comebacks for about 3 years, and it became somewhat of a seasonal thing. Well, Greg Cook coming back again. That's great. You'll see if he can play, you know. And then it became somewhat humorous or a joke to certain people, I'm sure, not to myself. And my mind really wasn't in the game anymore. And I felt at that point in time, if my heart wasn't in the game, it really wasn't doing the game justice.
He fought and he tried his hardest, and I can remember, just like it was yesterday, on the Cincinnati Bengal training camp field that about halfway through practice, he just took his helmet off, threw his helmet over the fence, and just walked away. And I think that was the saddest thing I've ever seen in professional football.
There's high school, college, and pro, but some players transcend that. They go to another level. That next level is the Hall of Fame. There is that aura of, I kind of let people down, but nevertheless, it's a regret that I didn't get the chance to exploit what I had come so far with to take it to that next level. I'm in the chemical industry right now. We have our own company, but that's a point of just making ends meet. I don't particularly care for it, I don't like it, but one of these days I perceive myself being, again, a totally creative person.
Greg Cook's artistry now lives on canvas, but few will ever forget that for one glorious season, his palette and paintbrush was a football, traveling through light and shadow over a pastoral field of green.
Hey, you want to know if I can run the wishbone?
Quarterback draw?
He misses it. Quarterback draw?
Yeah, okay.
That's all day.
We'll talk about it. We'll let you know.
All day. That's what I'm supposed to do, right?